What's up, everybody? Welcome back to an impromptu show of the 10-7 MMA show. Today it's just going to be me. We're not going to have Justin. He's not going to be able to join, but I had to do this episode, or I felt like I had to do it because there's just so much going on surrounding this Ryan Garcia incident, boxing match that just shook up the entire world. He won. He came back from like incredible odds that were against him. Also, he put on this entire act. I mean, the whole thing was like a movie that probably wouldn't even be that believable if we saw it as a movie. Like, there's no way somebody could do everything that he did. It was unbelievable, and I love stories like this. I think Ryan Garcia is a very captivating individual. I think that he speaks his mind, and I really respect him. I love his confidence. I love the way that he stands up for what he believes in, even if he's not afraid to get ridiculed. And when you see somebody being their authentic self, I think it resonates with all of us, because I think that's what I think that's part of the reason why we're here and why we're living life, is to be that most authentic version of ourselves. And I think he's got that in spades, and why people gravitate towards him so much. So this story has really captivated me, blown me away. And I'm not even a boxing fan. I'll watch some of the boxing matches. I do like to see what Jake Paul is doing in the sport, but in general, obviously, I'm an MMA fan, diehard MMA fan. I love the UFC, and I love to see competitive, straight up MMA fights. Bare knuckle is kind of interesting though. But anyways, this fight definitely took me by storm, and I got into it because of all the shenanigans that Ryan was intentionally putting on in the buildup, acting like he was crazy, talking about all this nonsense, like pretending like he wasn't training, coming in, missing weight. And then he just did such an amazing job. Actually, Devin Haney did a great job as well. But Ryan Garcia landed that left hook multiple times, dropped him many, many times, inflicted a ton of damage. The ref even seemed to be almost favoring Devin Haney, letting him get away with countless penalties, and then deducting a point for one low blow, or not even a low blow, one shot during the clinch. I mean, the whole thing was crazy. It didn't take away, and it just, everything seemed really weird. Okay, I actually was afraid that Ryan Garcia wasn't going to get the decision. I was really worried, because even though he obviously won, there was just so many weird things during that fight that the ref was doing that seemed biased. Whether or not that was by design or just what it seemed to be, I don't know. But things seem weird. So I wanted to talk about this today, because the story to me that's adding up, and people are so quick to dismiss any notions of foul play is like, that's conspiracy talk, aka that's crazy. I want to talk about this because I wanted everybody to take a look with me into everything that's happened and have a real discussion about what really could have happened here. Why did this happen? So first, I want to play a clip of Ryan Garcia recently doing a quick show with Bob Menery, and he's talking about the steroid allegations. So we're going to start here. We're just going to hear from Ryan himself, and then we're going to move on to other findings that have come out. Here we go.
Right.
I know for a fact in my heart of hearts I did not do steroids.
They should just create a league where everybody's on steroids and fights each other. I think that'd be the most.
Steroids it doesn't even give you advantage. What advantage does it give you? Did it stop from Devin Haney getting cracked in the face? No, bro. Steroids is not going to help you with timing, with skill, with management, with fucking. And if I was on steroids, I would have been in way better shape.
What about the
Bro, I was literally drinking every day, smoking weed. He knows.
Yeah,
Every
I saw you a
single
couple
day. I
times.
didn't stop, not even till the fucking day of the fight. Drink. And I got in there high as fuck, and I beat his ass.
Right.
That was so easy. I was a walk in the fucking park. I had a heart.
Okay, so anyways, this is going back to him. So I don't know what you guys think when you hear him talk. I believe him, and I believed him from the beginning. Now, how many athletes say this, and how many actually do steroids behind closed doors or other banned substances, PEDs, whatever? Even if it's, one of the drugs that he was flagged for isn't technically an anabolic steroid, it's a SARM. And that could be right. I don't know. I'm not deep enough into the game where I'd have a good enough sense on this. I know other boxers have come out and say, like, look, we think a lot of people use these substances. It's only really when you get caught, when you go overboard with it, blah, blah, blah. But I did feel like I believed him when he was talking, and I believed what he was saying. So that was just my personal take. That was my gut instinct, and I wanted to believe him. It's an incredible story. It feels sad that it could be marred by this type of controversy. Now we're going to go into the findings. So just to give everybody a recap, what we had, where we had two banned substances found in the A test. Okay, apparently it was found twice, but there were multiple drug tests where he tested clean over and over and over again. And then right before the fight is when he tested positive for two things. So one is, I believe, called nandrolone. The other one was for SARMs, for ostarine. Okay, and the SARM, selective androgen receptor modulator, I think something like that is what it stands for. Basically, it has similar, let's just put it like this, it has similar effects as anabolics. Okay, it helps with muscle growth and things like that. Now, when he talks about, hey, I don't think it would give you an advantage, this and that, I don't know if that's true. Probably not, because I've also heard that anabolics improve brain functionality, especially if you have testosterone added in the mix, can make you think faster, could potentially improve your reaction time. Who knows? This is just him theorizing and postulating. It that has really no bearing. But the bottom line is he's had these tests. Now, this is insane. Okay. They have now tested the B sample. So what it is there's two samples that are taken. The first one came back that tested positive for nandrolone, which is basically a downstream byproduct, is my understanding, not a chemist, but of something called DECA. This is a very, very easily detectable anabolic steroid. It's actually got quite a bit of side effects. And Derek from More Plates, More Dates did an entire show saying that he thinks he's innocent because to do DECA, if you're going to do an anabolic, would be the stupidest one to do because it's so easy to detect. And with the team that he's got, what was at stake, it just doesn't make any sense. So we go back to the idea of maybe it was tainted or maybe there was foul play, right? Now we go and we finally get the B sample tested, right? So they take two samples, A and B. A came back with that in the B sample. Check out what happened. This is really blowing my mind. And I feel like more people need to be talking about the fact that we have a discrepancy. And not only that we have a discrepancy, but what does that mean that the B sample is coming back negative, right? So it says, so we talk about the ostarine, right? And we're going to get back to that. But then here's the norandrosterone, I believe is how it's pronounced. And that is essentially a byproduct of the DECA, right? So he's still going to have to deal with that. But the B samples will be tested May 22nd for ostarine. But here, wait, let's see this. Breaking news. Provided on April 19th was positive for ostarine, but also showed banned norandrosterone needs more testing. That's done per lab report. Tribe contained. It did not confirm. What does that mean? It means that the B sample passed. They didn't find the remnants of DECA. All right. So I saw that kind of blew my mind because the A sample and the B sample, it's just his urine. So for one to be positive and one to be negative, I want to know mathematically, right? Like what are the chances? How often does that happen? That one would be positive and one would be negative. That's crazy. It's the same urine or from the exact same time frame. How could that be? So I looked this up, and this is pretty interesting too. Okay. So I looked up the statistic, and it said, let's say we have 500,000 anti-doping tests. We get 9,300 positive for the A samples. When we have a contradiction with the B sample 2 to 4 times a year, let's take the low end, 2 times a year. That's 2 out of 9,300, 1 out of 4,650. Okay. 1 out of 100 would be a 1% likelihood or chance this would happen. This is 1 out of basically 5,000. Okay. 1 out of 1,000 is 1/10%. This is like 0.2 of that 1% of the, it's like 1/5 of the percent of the 0.10 of a percent. It's so small. Okay. This might be, even for this year, one of the only times where this happens this year. So what does this all tell you? What does this mean? I mean, to me, yes, it could be the craziest mistake of all time. But I want to talk about a little bit deeper about why I think there might be something more nefarious at play here. Okay. And it's funny, as soon as you mentioned, right, he said this from the beginning, I think I was set up, I think I was framed, blah, blah, blah. And as soon as you enter into those conversations, everybody's like, well, you're a conspiracy theorist. You know, first of all, what is a conspiracy theorist? What does that even mean? I don't know what it's talking about. If you allege that somebody tried to set you up or get you in trouble or do something nefarious to you, what, you just call them a conspiracy theorist? And it's like, all right, he's just being crazy. I want to talk about why I think there actually could be a valid explanation that, hey, maybe there was some foul play here. Okay. Think about in life when people are doing things that basically they're conspiring against somebody or an entity or whatnot. When does that happen? it doesn't happen all the time because the consequences are very severe, right? If you try and pull something off or commit a crime or whatever, we don't want to do that. We don't want to face the consequences. Normal people obviously don't want to break the law and do these types of things. But when it does happen, obviously it takes the right personality type, the right team that are willing to go to those depths and do the wrong thing and whatnot. But it usually has to do with stakes. Okay. When we have a murder for hire plot, right? We see these on true crime shows all the time. It's usually spurred by really heavy stakes. Probably the people otherwise wouldn't go to those lengths unless there was huge insurance money payout and their back was against the wall and they were in tons of debt. Like we see this sometimes, people pulling off these crazy things that otherwise they maybe wouldn't have done. We see, certain like massive interests, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars are on the line and they need that money for some reason. Would they be willing to go to some level to maybe fudge the results, right? To maybe contaminate the result. I don't know. How is it that the A sample tested positive for this crazy anabolic and the B sample is nowhere to be seen? And we come back to this fight. Each fighter was paid a massive amount of money. This was going to be, there was huge stakes from the side of Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia, potentially huge stakes for the sport of boxing as well. Ryan Garcia may not be the guy that they want as a face of boxing because he's very outspoken. He was saying that he wasn't training this and that. Who knows, right? Who knows? And the last thing I'll say is boxing is known as a notoriously dirty, dirty sport. People were calling it a dirty sport when they're saying, he probably cheated. Everybody cheats. But then now on the flip side, if you try to allege that, hey, maybe there was some foul play here, something got mixed up, maybe somebody contaminated a sample, you're all of a sudden that there's no way that could happen. That's crazy. Why? We do see these types of things happening all the time. And again, when the stakes are high enough, when you have the sport books, the people who are basically paying out on these massive bets, all of the money that exchange hands as a result of this victory, why is it so improbable to believe that something nefarious did happen with the samples, especially considering the fact that like you see discrepancies between A and B samples 1 out of 5,000 times per year? Okay, and then how is it that it's just happening when the stakes are so high for this one fight? You would imagine that they're supposed to be extra careful when these guys are getting paid $30 million per this one fight, plus all the money and all the promotion that's happening. I don't know. The whole thing seems weird. So I just want to go on record saying, hey, I felt like obviously until the more plates, more dates video came out, I didn't know. And I don't want to say something that I don't feel confident about, but after that video came out, now this finding comes out. Now they're doing more testing on the Ostarine. Man, I think he's 100% innocent. And I do think something weird happened. I really do. I don't think it's just a fluke. There's too many coincidences and the stakes are too high. So I just wanted to put it out there. Ryan Garcia, I believe you. I think that, yeah, man, I want to see you fight again. I really hope they don't turn this into a no contest unless, of course, it's warranted, unless they do find legitimate reasons to do so. But I hope people are really taking a second look and thinking about this carefully, doing their research, and let's see what happens. Sadly, in some people's eyes, this whole victory has already been tainted, but not in my eyes. And I think a lot of people who are doing proper investigation, we still believe that Ryan Garcia pulled this off and did a fantastic job. So that's it. Do some digging, guys. But I had to make this video, wanted to jump on and kind of talk about these results and these new findings. So we'll keep doing this. If you like this video and you like this type of content, make sure to click that like button. Leave me a comment if there's other topics or other things that you'd like me to talk about on the show or Justin to touch on as well. We're here for you guys and we're growing and we're having a blast. So thank you guys so much for joining today, and I will see you in the next video. Take it easy.